The Soviets used the land as much as their armies to defend Russia against the German onslaught. Part of that approach was to deny the Germans any Soviet resources that could be used against them. Out of desperation, Joseph Stalin created a scorched earth policy that had undeniable consequences. Blocks in the East by Vento Nuovo Games, part of the Blocks in Europe series, offers optional rules to enhance the experience of the game. One such optional rule is number 16, Scorched Earth. This optional rule allows the Soviet player to automatically destroy population, oil, and mining centers, although factories cannot be destroyed. The destruction occurs when Soviet forces retire from the hexes containing population, oil, and mining centers. Plus, it occurs when such centers are conquered by combat or by invoking the surrender rule when there are no defenders in such hexes. It is important to mark or note such centers as being destroyed, so their resources cannot be used. When employing the Scorched Earth optional rule, the Axis player cannot generate production points the turn after their conquest. However, the Soviet player can gain one final round of production points from the location on the turn that it is destroyed. In other words, the Soviet player can bleed the production center dry, then put the torch to it. Once destroyed, the center will not produce any oil, mining, or population until it has been repaired. Such repairs are carried out as per the Building New Factories rule, which requires one production point per turn for up to 3 turns for every production point the center had once generated. The turns do not have to be consecutive. For example, to gain a single production point from a destroyed center at Petsamo, a player must spend at least 1 production point for repair. To gain 2 production points from Stalino, the player must spend 6 production points. Each repaired production point starts producing in the following production phase for the player who controls it. The Axis player should place a marker denoting the progression of the repaired resources when finished. For the Soviet player, their vast economic resources means that such centers are repaired to their full production value on the turn after they have been reconquered. If the Axis player should take it again, they will have to repair it again. Enemy factories are immediately destroyed when conquered, but provide a single production point of their specific type to the conqueror. For the 1941 year only, the Soviet player may shut down and evacuate a factory at the cost of 3 strategic rail movement points during that phase, which means that only 1 factory per turn can be evacuated, and only if no enemy units are adjacent to the factory at the beginning of the evacuation. When evacuating, the Soviet player places a factory counter on the 8 box of the Soviet production tracker. This is moved forward 1 box each turn, and when in transit it cannot produce any production points. When it reaches the 10 box, the new factory location is chosen randomly, just like new factories in the game, and it starts producing production points. And that is how the Scorched Earth optional rule works for Blocks in the East. Thanks for watching. The Seek Out and Play YouTube channel offers several videos on the Vento Nuovo line of games. Plus, you can keep up with the latest news by visiting our Facebook and Twitter pages. And if you want to support the channel, we have a link to our Patreon page below. And I will see you next Wednesday.